It's a never-ending energy. Like, whoa, I know you don't want no enemies. I know they hate you, look that beautiful right next to me.
So what is up, guys? We are back at it again with Record of Ragnarok chapter 73, The Heirs of Science. If you guys remember, at the end of last chapter, we saw Beelzebub was about to take on Hades in a flashback. This is, of course, part of Beelzebub's backstory, and it was going to shed some light on their relationship, because we obviously know Hades gave Beelzebub the staff that he uses against Tesla at some point, because we saw Hades wielding it in a picture. Either that or Beelzebub may have just taken it from him. So we're trying to get that question answered this chapter. We're also trying to figure out why Beelzebub would want to help Hades, because obviously we knew both of them were going to survive this fight, because Hades and Beelzebub were both alive in the current events of the story. So we pick up right where we left off last chapter, but Beelzebub is knocked out of the castle. So the picture of Hades' castle, we've seen it before, and Hades has the clear upper hand in this fight. Seems like he's dominating, and he ends up defeating Beelzebub pretty easily. I don't know if we get to see the full fight, but from what we see, Beelzebub never lands a hit on Hades, and basically is just accepting the fact that he's going to die. That is why he even came here in the first place, because of course he wanted to die. He sought out the king of the netherworld, Hades. Nobody else could take him out, so he went to the man at the top. But of course Hades is, kind of curious, I should say. He's asking, why does Beelzebub want to die so bad? Like, what is the cause of this madness? Why is he acting this way? And of course Beelzebub ends up telling him about the curse, as he calls it, from Lilith, where he cannot die. Even if he goes and willingly tries to give himself up, which we've all questioned that before. Why doesn't Beelzebub just willingly give himself up? He can't. That should have been obvious, but it's confirmed here. He can't just willingly open himself up and let something kill him. He has to be killed in a valiant way, it seems. So when Hades finds this out, he's like, hey man, you got it all wrong. She wasn't cursing you, she was blessing you. She was giving you something of a prayer, where she wants you to live for her, not just yourself. Live for her, live for the love you guys shared. That shit was real. She wasn't cursing you. She wants you to live a good life. She doesn't want you to be burdened by this curse of Satan that you actually have, which is a real curse. And Beelzebub kind of sees this, and he's kind of starting to understand it. But of course, he still wants to die, but Hades isn't going to grant him death. He ends up motivating Beelzebub in a way. He challenges him to think about what Lilith truly would have wanted. And then if he still decides he wants to die, Hades will grant his wish. But he's going to do it when Beelzebub goes and recovers, and he can give him a better fight. And he'll kill him. He said, anytime, I'm here. So if you want to come back, you want to die, I'll do it. But I really think you should take a second look at this so-called curse that you feel like you're inflicted with. So Beelzebub listens to this. He ends up leaving. He's going through it. He's going through a lot of pain. He obviously misses his friends that he killed, Lucifer, Azazel, Samael. He misses Lilith. And it's just a tough life for Beelzebub. We obviously already knew this. And it seems like we flash forward. Beelzebub does come back around to Hades a second time. I don't know how much time has passed, but at this point, Beelzebub decides that he is going to continue on living. He's going to live as bitterly, wretchedly, and savagely as possible. He's going to commit atrocities, because he is going to do that. So when he dies, it's going to be a terrible death. He's going to suffer. He wants to suffer. He's a masochist in a sense. He's going to move on, but he still wants to die. That hasn't changed. He believes that he needs to suffer to atone for his sins of killing the ones closest to him. Which, obviously, I think that this is all going to tie into Tesla getting rid of the curse of Satan for Beelzebub, because I think at some point Beelzebub's going to realize, like, hey, I was dealing with all this, but it doesn't mean it has to define me. We still don't know if Satan truly is Beelzebub outright, or if it's just something that's inhabiting his body, like a Sukuna, Yuji, Kurama, Naruto situation. We don't know. So I think that will answer some questions. But at the end of the day, I do think that Beelzebub will eventually be free of Satan and go on to live something of a better life after this fight, because I think he is going to beat Tesla, but we'll see. So At this point where Beelzebub came back and, talked to Hades further about what he decided to do, this is where we see Hades give Beelzebub the staff that he uses in his fight with Tesla. So he did not steal it. He did not defeat Hades for it. It was a gift bestowed upon him by Hades, who actually seems like he is something of Beelzebub's friend. We kind of had that hint earlier on in the story because obviously we saw Beelzebub helping out Hades by reviving Adamas for him. And that's basically what it is. Hades accepts what Beelzebub's choice is. He laughs at him and he tells him, like, hey, don't worry about it, man. Ask you shall receive. Don't fret. I'll see to it you continue on suffering and that you will have a savage demise. So I don't really know what he meant by that, but I think he was just going to send demons at him or whatever and, try to help him out in his quest for atonement. And Beelzebub's like, I don't know why you care so much about me, man. Like, why'd you take the time to stop and talk to me? Why'd you take the time to listen and hear me out? Why are you giving me this staff? Like, why are you taking such an interest in me? And Hades actually says something pretty cool. And I've always liked Hades' character. He says, he reminds him of his brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, Adamas. Beelzebub reminds him of a younger brother. Don't forget, Hades is, of course, the oldest of the Greek trio, plus Adamas. And he sees Beelzebub as just another one of them kids, man. And he wants to help him out because he was missing his brothers. And ironically, Beelzebub showed up right where Hades was reminiscing on the times with his brothers and thinking about them. And for that reason, he's going to be watching over Beelzebub. And this whole backstory was kind of ambiguous to why we were getting it. Why were we having this Hades versus Beelzebub fight? We got that question answered. The reason we got this whole backstory and the importance it has on this fight is the fact that Beelzebub admired Hades. He saw him as something of an older brother. He cared for him. It was another person he cared for. He didn't get close enough to where Satan came out, it seems, but he cared for Hades, and that's why he was so adamant on fighting in round 8. Because if you guys remember, back right after the Hades Chin Wang fight, when Beelzebub declared he was going next, he had arrived in Hades' library, or not Hades, Hermes' library, and he was firm in the fact that he wanted Hermes to go tell Zeus, hey, look, I'm going next, and he had his staff, the gift from Hades. And we find out that he wants revenge. So in this instance, he doesn't actually want to die. He doesn't want Tesla to beat him. He wants to vanquish humanity for what they did to Hades, his older brother, in a sense, a person he cared about. And I think that that's really cool. And I actually like that because we had no idea what the motivations for Beelzebub were at this point. And to find out that he really did have a close relationship with Hades, I think adds more to his character. I like Hades even more now than I did before, and I already liked his character. I actually wanted Hades to win his fight with Qin Shi Huang, although Qin Shi Huang is also one of my favorite characters in the whole series. I just believe that Hades winning would have made more sense. But hey, I'm not going to complain about it. It was a great fight, and Qin Shi Huang's a great character, so we'll see what happens with him going forward. But the fact that Beelzebub is out for vengeance is really, really cool to see. And because of that, he actually says that this is all Hades' fault. Because you are such a bothersome personality, so annoying. The fact that, he stuck his neck out, went out of his way to help Beelzebub. He made Beelzebub now want to win something. And it's just another emotional scene. We get a picture of Hades where he's like, I'll be waiting for you anytime. And Beelzebub's in his mind thinking, well, shit, that's gone now because he's dead. And Beelzebub is so fired up at this point because he probably is acknowledging Tesla. I mean, don't forget, last chapter, he took the most damage we've seen at any point. And it's real damage where Tesla used his Tesla warp, his teleportation, and landed a huge shot. He has now got his back against the wall. All that adrenaline's pumping into him. He now wants to win. He's more determined than ever. And he grabs the staff with both hands this time. And he says, humanity needs to be annihilated. And this unleashes a brand new form for Beelzebub that's not tied to Satan, it seems. It's actually called chaos. And I love the sound of that. And this is what happens when Baal and Zabul meet in the middle. So don't forget, He's also based on the Canaanite gods Baal and Zebul, the two split gods. This was talked about in his backstory in the earlier chapters, the Philistine god and all this. And when those two opposites come together, they create one being. And they say a false god is born, and the promised land is swallowed up according to the legends of Canaanites. And this form is officially called Original Sin of the Underworld, number 0, Chaos. And Zeus is shook at the sight of this thing. He knows exactly what it is. He knows that this is a problem, and he looks actually like he's somewhat worried. I don't know if he's worried in the sense like he can't stop it. I know power scales will go crazy with that. I don't know if Zeus would be worried if he cannot beat him, but he might be worried for the destruction this is going to cause, that it might have ramifications on the tournament, all that. But rest assured, he freaks out, and it's significant. And all we see is this giant black sphere. It actually looks like the Wicked Avatar, if you guys are familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! It's one of the sacred beasts. It's like the opposite of the sacred beast from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I know a lot of people probably haven't watched Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's this giant sphere. That's all we see. And I don't think this is the final form. Like, he's obviously going to have a form, but that's all we see to close out the chapter. He's in this cocoon-like thing that encompassed the entire battlefield. So Tesla's in there too. I'm very excited to see where we go from this. The name of the form, Chaos, the Original Sin, is fucking awesome. And this isn't even his Satan transformation yet. So this seems like we got a long ways to go in this fight. Also, another important thing to note is, since Beelzebub does want to win now, maybe he will actually lose. It's possible, because this whole time we've been kind of thinking all he wants to do is die, so he's not going to die. But in this instance, he actually doesn't want to die. So wouldn't that be ironic that the only time he doesn't want to die because he's fighting for somebody he really cares about, he dies? It's something that Record of Ragnarok would do. So I do still think Beelzebub will win, because it just makes sense to me. And maybe I'm just stuck on that, but I'm kind of being open to the idea of Tesla maybe having a shot here, man. And I think we just got much more to go coming down the pipe. I'm loving this fight so far. We haven't even got a full-on backstory for Tesla yet. You can bank on that coming down the line. His death rate is surely going to play a factor in this fight, so I can't wait. What do you guys think? Do you guys enjoy this chapter, and are you guys excited for the next one? Let me know in the comments below. What are your guys' theories? And make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It'll help me out. Hit that like button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
She gon' do it with no hands, she a master. If they question how I get it, I got answers. Like, what she got me tripping like.